Hello, winners, and welcome to Two for the Win with your hosts, Nick and Will, where we share international insights and perspectives and a little bit of levity from time to time on things such as leadership and mindset on Monday Mindset, travel and the travel business on Wanderlust Wednesday, and sports on Fanatic Friday. You can count on each episode being between 20 to 30 minutes in length, and please make sure you subscribe, share, and follow Two for the Win. Spread the word, give feedback, let people know, rate us. Yeah, actually, the ratings, more ratings would help. So come on, winners, give us a few 5 stars if you wish on the ratings. And of course, this episode is sponsored by our very own Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations. Thank you, Nick Menard.
You're very welcome. Hello, winners.
TGIF, it is Friday. Friday fun day. And what do we talk about on Friday, Nick? Sports. So much to talk about. Holy smokes. Where do you want to start?
Absolutely. Let's talk about college football. Not talking too much about the past, but looking forward to what's going to happen next weekend with the start of the playoffs.
Yeah, I think there were some interesting seedings. And of course, a lot of people were talking about Alabama being left out in exchange for SMU. We talked real briefly before jumping on here. I think you have a good take. I'm sure you'll share it. But here we go. The first ever 12-team college football field series of games. You got a few. Obviously, the 4 championship winners have the bye. Interesting paths for a couple of teams, and I think we may see something we'll talk about a little bit more later that maybe is deja vu all over again. A little Groundhog Day. We shall see. But where do you want to start first?
Well, we can start with the seedings, maybe.
That actually, if you don't mind, I'd like you to share your take about SMU Alabama, because I did, Alabama, it's tough thinking about a 12-team college playoff field, not including Alabama, but I think your take is spot on. So maybe real quick, talk about why SMU.
So what I think is really the fact that the committee could not get it right or wrong. I mean, they would have been backslash, is that?
Yeah.
For either decision. Do I think Alabama is a better product to put for the playoffs? Absolutely. But if they do that, that would send the wrong signal to any teams moving forward. Why? I mean, we all heard about the fact that SMU were ranked number 8 before the conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
So in front of Alabama. If you take Alabama in front of SMU after losing the ACC championship game, then you reward a team who didn't play in their conference championship game, and you completely incentivize any team moving forward who are ranked in the playoff before the conference championship to actually do not play their conference. Because if SMU were not to play, since their bio for the championship committee is to not change teams who are not playing, they cannot change the ranking of 2 teams who are not playing. You can only change from team playing the games. So then you're safe. As SMU, you will be in the playoff regardless. But if you play for a chance to win your championship, then you have a chance to not only lose it, but be out of the playoff bracket. So it makes absolutely no sense to go with Alabama in this sense. The only thing that they could have think about is maybe instead of rank them 8 at the end, they could have ranked them 11 or 12. Nobody would have screened anything about it. But then the championship game would have mattered, because if you can only get in if you win.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, by ranking them 8, that was game over. So the thing that's important, even though I believe that if they would have lost the game by more than 10, like it was, the case for the first half where Clemson was rolling over them, I think that the decision would have been easier in saying, like, listen, you literally wet the bed against Clemson,
Yeah.
who are three defeat, yeah, three losses team.
Right.
Then you definitely don't belong in. But the way they lost the last second field goal, 54 yards field goal, I knew at that time that they were gonna be in. I was not surprised to see SMU coming up. But that's my take. But again, football wise, it's Alabama. Also, last point. I'm a crazy basketball fan. College basketball is something I love. So March Madness is my favorite time of the year. It's 68 teams in March Madness. You have the same exact debate at the end of Sunday, selection Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have a bracket as many teams as you want. You will always have debates based on who should be in and out. I remember 5-10 years ago when Syracuse were left out, and Coach Boeheim was like all over the place about the fact that they should be in to be the 64th team in. So again, that's super hard. I'm not defending the committee, but I don't know how you can please everybody all the time, and it's very subjective. The way that it's not like you all play the same teams. That would be easy, but it's not realistic. Alabama had everything in their hands to actually make it. If they don't lose that game against Oklahoma, they in.
Yeah.
So they have to really stop blaming. And not that I hear Alabama too much blaming anything, but they have no right to blame. They blame themselves, and that you just have to win the game. You should be winning, and that's my take.
Yeah, I agree. I think a couple of things. It's interesting that SMU, even though they lost to Clemson, is higher rated in the bracket. They're 11th seed versus Clemson 12. I think Saban said it best. He's like, you have to account for strength of schedule, but at the end of the day, everything is in every coach's and program's control. And to your point, Alabama, if they don't have that horrific loss to Oklahoma, they're in. But they did. And so it wasn't in their control, and they left it to destiny, and destiny frowned on the tide.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so much for roll tide. It was more like roll over tide.
Yeah, and your take was also like we talked earlier about the fact if Saban was coach, that Alabama was probably in. That's interesting way to see things.
Yeah, for the winners, what I was chatting with Nick quickly before we jumped on was I think that new coach doesn't have the same cachet. If you have a Nick Saban led Alabama team, exact same record, same losses or ever, just because his political pull and his history in college football, I think they might have squeaked in, but we'll never know. And that's the whole thing. So that's why you can speculate, but speculation's worth about much as my belt, I guess. Not much. I don't wear very expensive belts. All right, here we go. I don't know why I
Wow.
came up
You know,
with that.
winners, you learn things every day about Will.
Yeah, I know. Some things you wish you didn't know. But anyway, so Arizona State has the bye. Oregon, of course, has the bye. Boise State has a bye, and Georgia. So those are the ones who aren't playing the first weekend. But why don't we take it with a team that's near and dear to you, Texas versus Clemson.
Yeah. So Texas, of course, big loss last weekend against Georgia. We can talk about it until forever, but it's not going to change the results. I have my take, but maybe for another day. But yes, I think that Texas, Longhorns, and Penn State have the easiest way to go to the last Final Four. That's pretty interesting to see, like the way that they reward some team and not others. I would be Tennessee right now. I would probably be upset because they have a very, very strong bracket to get anywhere, and they are probably better than some other teams.
They have a tough matchup. Ohio State. Ohio State, though, is favored by 7.5, which seems
I
like a
don't
large
understand.
spread. Texas at -11 right now. I would take the points with or go over with Texas. I think they're going to smoke Clemson. Tennessee giving 7.5 points to Ohio State. That seems a bit much.
Yeah. Sunday when they announced the matchup, the line for Texas was -9.5. So the fact that it's minus 11, it
Yeah,
means
money's
that
already
money
moving
is
in.
definitely going in Texas winning big.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't bet on my team usually.
Yeah.
But I think that I can see that happen for sure. But
So let's say Texas, they win.
they play Arizona State
Arizona
back
State,
in Georgia.
they smoked them. They smoke
Mm-mm.
Arizona State. Yeah, in the Peach Bowl. Then you have Tennessee, Ohio State. So, I mean, who you going to take? You going to take Tennessee?
I
or
take
Ohio State?
Tennessee. I take Tennessee on
Really?
that one. Yeah, absolutely. I think that Tennessee are more solid, more consistent, and they had really one bad stretch of 2 games, but the rest of the season they were pretty consistent. And the bad stretch were when they had a lot of injuries those 2 weeks with quarterback and others. So Ohio State are very inconsistent. I don't believe in the coach. Coach Day, I think, is his last game with Ohio State.
The loss to Michigan is definitely a stinker. And I said last week, I don't like teams losing and backing into the championship, and then Clemson won. So I am going to pivot. I will take Ohio State, but I don't like the points. I think Ohio State wins by a field goal. And then you have a Rose Bowl matchup, traditional of Ohio State, Oregon.
That would be
or
amazing.
if you're right, Tennessee, Oregon.
That would be amazing anyway. So I think both games, Oregon matchup will be the best matchup in a quarterfinal.
Yeah,
I think.
Totally agree.
Yeah.
And then you got SMU, Penn State right now. Penn State's favored by 9.
Penn State destroy
I
them.
think they win, and then they would go against Boise State in the Fiesta Bowl in Arizona.
Even though Penn State and Texas, like mentioned, they have the easiest way to get to the Final Four, I'm not sure I would pick Penn State against Boise, actually. Boise State running back.
Oh, he's amazing.
He will run over because when you see
But the lines, you have to figure Penn State's D-line is bigger than Boise State's O-line.
Yes, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't give my pick yet for the quarterfinal.
Because we got to wait to see if they make it.
But I'm not sure which direction I'm gonna go. Again, I'm still not 100% sold by Penn State. I mean, I'm not sold at all. Like the game they should win, they win. The game they should lose, they lose. That one will be interesting to me.
Yeah, and Penn State favored by 9. I do think they would beat SMU by 10 or more.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have the battle for the state of Indiana. You know, it's funny. Obviously, Indiana usually stinks in football, but Indiana, Notre Dame, even though they're in the same state, rarely play. So this is a rare matchup. So who wins the Hoosier State, Indiana or Notre Dame? Notre Dame favored by 7.5.
Notre Dame wins by 25.
Yeah,
I don't think it's a matchup. I think Indiana is the worst team of all. I think Indiana would lose against everybody, even SMU.
Even Clemson?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. Indiana for me is the worst of the 12.
Yeah. And the reward for whoever wins that game is you get to play Georgia in the Sugar Bowl in Texas.
But Notre Dame, Georgia will be a very interesting game. I think between this one and Tennessee, Ohio State, and Oregon, those two games will be outstanding.
Yeah, and you've been on the Notre Dame bandwagon in terms of how they've dominated opponents, except for those named Northern Illinois. But all right, so there you have it, folks. We see Texas, playing Arizona State after beating Clemson. We're split between Tennessee and Ohio State playing Oregon. We're in agreement Penn State beats SMU for the right to play Boise State. And we're both in agreement Notre Dame takes care of Indiana and wins the battle for the state, the Hoosier State, and gets to play Georgia. So we'll talk about more after those games happen, what comes up. But, for the going into the Christmas week, the following week, that's not a bad weekend of college football at all.
Yeah, and let's say a word about the game of the weekend, Army Navy. That's gonna be, those two were in defeat until they play Notre Dame. They both were in defeat, and then they got destroyed, both of them, against Notre Dame. So again, that's the American game of the year. So it's gonna be. It's gonna be a better matchup than usual. I think I'll have oh my God, Army win that game.
I do too.
I think that they're gonna win the game, but that's the only game of the weekend. So we have something to look forward to watch before the big start of the bowl games and championship games.
Gonna be fun.
Games.
First ever 12-team playoff bracket. Can't wait.
Yeah, absolutely.
A ton of fun.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Who do you think should be the Ace Man.
Oh, you got to go with Colorado.
Hunter.
Yeah, Hunter. You got to do it. I mean, to play both ways extremely well. And when you think back to, I'm dating myself here, but when Charles Woodson won it as a two-way player, he didn't play offense as much as Hunter played offense. He was a lockdown corner. He did play special teams. So he used to have, I think he had a couple punt returns that year, but he played offense, but not as much. Hunter plays full time, both sides. I don't see how you can't give it to
I agree. I think it's a lock, but
him.
we know how it goes when, we'll
Yeah.
see. But I'm totally in agreement with you. Hunter should get that one and run with it.
And I will make this request, not that Dion listens to this, but if by chance he does, I want him in full primetime gear. Skip the cowboy hat, forget the Colorado stuff. I want the Atlanta Falcon blingity bling, the Florida State blingity bling. I want it all shiny, gaudy. I want him to be obnoxious. I want him to take over that Heisman, because usually the Heisman thing is so stuffy. It's like you can like smell the old carpet in the room. The way they present it is just kind of I want prime time there, rattling cages.
But I
would love
want, if prime time is listening, come join us as a guest.
Yeah.
That would be a pretty fun time, I think.
Oh yeah, love him to see him high stepping right into Two for the Win. There we go. Yeah,
funny.
prime time. Yeah, I want him to just forget this country gear he's been doing. I mean, I get why he's doing it. I want 90s flashy, in your face, gaudy jewelry, prime time, and bring MC Hammer.
What?
Just go full retro on this deal.
Hey, we're not sure yet, but
Too legit.
I
Too
know.
legit to quit.
Here we go. Sorry, winners. If the season stopped now in the NFL, the number one overall pick goes to the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
would love to see a little Sanders playing,
Both.
black and
Brady's going to be an owner.
Yeah.
Now, so he's not keeping the coach. Pierce.
No.
And if you could get Dion and his kid, I mean, the media alone, the value of Vegas alone would probably go up by another $1 billion. Yeah, if they did it just in that moment, like who knows how it would play out, but in that moment, franchise value up $1 billion.
They need to double the capacity of Allegiant Stadium.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Anyway,
I think we need to work on our press packs. Because I see a lot of Vegas trips in our future. If they get Dion and his kid in Vegas, dude, I will write as many words as they need to get the press pass.
I think Vegas, is definitely your backup team and not Dolphins anymore.
If they get Dion and his kid, yeah. I still have a soft spot for Miami, but I would love that. And beautiful stadium. I took a tour of the Vegas stadium. A fun fact for everyone: if you haven't gone to Vegas' stadium, if this interests you, but it's something that I never would have expected. When you go in the halls where the offices are, where the executives and all the different things, they have a boatload of artwork, and not like something you find in a garage store, like legitimately cool artwork, old Raider players, different things, and just the way the whole suites are built out. I mean, they didn't go cheap on anything. It's super nice.
It's Vegas.
Yeah. So they did that well. Cool stadium. Real quick before we pivot off this, we kind of alluded to it. I think we're both going to go this route, but prediction for the final two teams and who wins the college football first ever playoff bracket like this.
You ask me that. You know what I'm going to say. For those who knows me, you should know that I'm not biased usually, because
except against the Packers, but we'll touch about that later.
No, like I'm a Cowboys fan. I never picked them to win. I'm a Longhorns fan. I never picked them to win before championship or anything like that. Beginning of the season, This year, I predict them to go to the championship game. I didn't predict them to win, and I will go a step further. I do believe that the way we played last weekend, which was a very underwhelming game, other than the first quarter, we play under a capacity. Our quarterback played not good at all. Our kicker cannot kick the ball from the sand to the ocean. And we lost in overtime
Yeah.
at Georgia. I mean, I if Coach Sark, and I mentioned that the week before, I said the key was for Coach Sark to make sure to have a good mix between Ewers and Manning.
Mm-hmm.
And he used Manning for 2 snaps, and he didn't do nothing. He literally was just there for a fake run.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm extremely disappointed with that. I think that the kicker was the big issue, even though Ewers play a bad game. So if Coach Sark can get over himself and actually play a mix of both, because I think they both
Mix
have
of
got
Manning
really,
and Ewers. Yeah.
I think that we are on pace to win the championship. So I have us going against Georgia for the third time, and if we lose the third time, I don't know what to tell you, but it's not gonna be fun for me. I don't see that happening at all. But hey, again, sometimes teams have other teams' numbers, so it may be that. But I truly believe we're gonna go back and play Georgia again. I think Georgia is also a very interesting road. So with Notre Dame, that's gonna be their biggest matchup.
Mm-hmm.
If they, the winner of Georgia Notre Dame, I think go to the Natty, and yeah, I have Georgia, Texas, and Texas winning the national championship.
Yeah, I am actually right there with you. Groundhog Day, third time is the charm. Texas and Georgia. Georgia, the only team in their bracket that I think could really give them a run for their money is Notre Dame.
Mm.
Nobody else. Penn State, SMU, Boise State, Indiana. I mean, they got the easiest path to get to the championship. Texas, Oregon obviously is explosive. And I think the winner of Tennessee, Ohio State could have a puncher's chance against Texas. So Texas doesn't have as easy of a road as Georgia, but I do agree with you. Getting to the semifinals, they have a pretty easy path. They should take care of Clemson, Arizona State, no problem. I was extremely disappointed with Ewers because I even said they both teams being relatively equal, you go with the better quarterback, and Georgia had their quarterback knocked out, and Ewers, he seemed rattled. Like his throws were off, and usually he's pretty accurate. He had happy feet. But to your point, if that kicker makes both kicks, they're in. They won the championship. So I mean, I agree with you. I think, and you text me right after the game. You're like, for them losing, I now actually feel more confident about them winning the national championship because it's going to put a sour taste in their mouth. And I think Texas comes out swinging. I think they make it to the semifinals. They'll have to beat Oregon, assuming, Oregon gets there. But I see that. I really don't think Notre Dame's going to give too much trouble to Georgia. They will give them some trouble, but I think it's Georgia, Texas, and I think finally the third time's the charm. Texas wins their first championship since Vince Young and that epic battle against USC. Man, that game was amazing, even though I was a big USC fan at that time. But that was an amazing game. I think the Longhorns do it.
There you go. You heard it
here
first.
All right. Now, I started the last week. I got one under my belt with the upset picks. So we're ready.
Upset
picks. Here we go.
Congratulations.
2-0.
Fantastic.
Won both. I was pleasantly surprised, but I felt like you had when you shared, you had an endorsement from somebody who you know well, who's a Seahawks fan. I felt better. I felt like, all right, yeah, I might be able to pull both these things, and they did. So I will take it. So upset picks. Here we go. Where was my first pick? I was kind of leaning this way, but I think I'm gonna. You always give me a thing about picking pick'ems. So I'm going to do it again. I am going to take the Bills to go into Detroit. Detroit, full strength. I take Detroit. Campbell, man, I think if you ask 31 other fans of teams, they would all want Dan Campbell as their coach.
No.
Like the man just he's got his MO and he sticks with it. As much as I was hoping his fourth down gamble against Green Bay was going to blow up in his face, it's the total right move because they kicked the field goal instead of going for it. Green Bay has about 40 seconds. I think Green Bay gets the field goal, and I think in overtime, Green Bay wins. So he made the play to make sure that that wasn't even a possibility. Out of 100 coaches, 99 don't do what he did. And I got to give a tip of the cap. But against Josh Allen and the Bills, playing in the dome of the Lions, and the Lions being hurt, I say Buffalo. Lions right now are favored by 2. I say Buffalo goes in and gets the W. That's my first upset pick.
Yeah, that's a good one. I was gonna pick that one probably as well. So that's yeah.
Well, you got 2 in a row now.
I'm
so
in
you can
agreement.
Take your pick.
Yes. So my first pick is I will take the Seahawks beating your Packers.
Oh no! It hasn't worked
sorry.
out for you yet, but that's okay.
2 times. I only picked 2 twice against the Packers. I'm picking the Seahawks. Seahawks are they need that game to stay on top of their division. The Packers are third. They're not going anywhere anyway. So I want the Seahawks to win to secure their last game of the season. I was looking at the calendar. The last game of the season, the Seahawks play the Rams. And that's going to probably dictate who's going to win the division before that. And I think the way that the Rams played, I mean, what about that game? I mean,
I didn't see it.
Oh,
I thought Buffalo was going to take care of business.
But anyway, so the way they played, I think that I can see the Rams like going in their streak right now. And the last game would be probably the Seahawks need the win. They play at home Sunday night, the 12th man, sorry. It's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be low temperature. It's gonna be so it's gonna be interesting. I take the Seahawks.
I will say Packers usually don't play well in Seattle, so that could be an issue.
And then the second game, it's surprising, but I mean maybe not too much. I take the Jaguars beating the Jets at home.
Yeah.
I could go a couple of different teams. But I love the fact that you won your pick last weekend because I was
with the Jaguars.
Yeah, I think that the way that you position in the Y, that I love that, and I think I was very happy for the Jaguars to win. It was not beautiful,
no,
but they won, and I think they play at home against a Jet. We're full of talent, but they don't care about anything. The way that Rodgers handle himself right now, like, hey, I don't need to prove anything. I know what I'm doing. The problem is not in me. I just cannot stand that attitude, and I hope that the Jacksonville Jaguars beats the Jets. So it's more with my heart than with with my, But anyway, that's the direction I'm going.
Yeah, I was also very pleased, and as much as I enjoyed Rodgers when he led the Packers, and outstanding years, there was always whispers about his leadership. And I think, he got away with a lot of it because he was in the Green Bay Fishbowl and it's small market and they protect their own. In New York, you don't get any cover. And he's being exposed for the stuff that we've heard when he was in Green Bay. All-time great talent at quarterback, not a great leader. So if we were talking about him on Monday Mindset, he would...
No. He would not be a guest for Monday, maybe Wednesday. But not
unless
Monday.
You wanted to know what not to do.
Not Friday.
Yeah, I am torn because I kind of want to pick your Cowboys. Carolina is a slight favorite against Dallas playing at home. And I kind of want to pick the Dolphins over the Texans.
That was the third pick for me.
Yeah, the Dolphins, Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because playing in the dome, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Which one do I want to go? I think I'll take the I'll take the Dolphins over the Texans. So right now Houston's favored by 2.5. I don't feel great about this pick because they're playing in Houston, But I think the Dolphins with Tua are a different team than without Tua. Say what you want about Tua. He's accurate as heck. They got this short passing game and let your playmakers make plays. They got speed like nobody's business. Yeah, I'll go with the Dolphins. But for what it's worth, Cowboy fans, and I know a few of you are Cowboys fans who are listening, I think they can go in the Carolina and win. But I'll take the more riskier one. Take Dolphins.
The direction I didn't take Cowboys. First of all, I rarely pick my team because usually it doesn't go well, and also because we don't know really the direction it's going moving forward. And Carolina is playing so much better the last few weeks.
Bryce Young,
so
showing he has a pulse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right,
so there you have it, folks. Another Fanatic Friday in the books. Lots of great sports to look forward to. Thanks again to Nick Menard and Associates with Dream Vacations for sponsoring us. Please make sure you subscribe, share, and follow. Two for the win. Hope you enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you Monday on Monday Mindset. Take care, winners.
Bye, winners.